Awesome, you guys. So I'm excited for today. We've got Angeline Hart today. We were talking about her coaching and her classes and stuff that she was doing. And I can't even remember if it was your idea or my idea. And it's like, we started talking about, we got to get you here in front of some of our agents and some of you that already know Angeline. That's awesome. You got quite the following. There's people registered that aren't on, so we might have to send some recordings out. If it maybe something came up, they didn't make it. Yeah, for sure. We are recording this. I know we got our slide deck up and ready, so she's gonna be sharing some stuff with us. Angeline is Kitty's mother. Those of you that don't know that connection. So Kitty Cheney has kind of like your sister, your mom, your daughter,
My husband.
your husband. That was that kind of a woman thing there for a minute.
Where's my feminine energy?
We love it. I've got a pair of that myself. Yeah, right. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm not really a shadow. Look, maybe I'm a silhouette on Zoom. You guys can't see a look and see my face. Awesome. Angeline, come on up here. Tell us a little bit about what, introduce yourself for those that may or may not know you. I think you've got some of your friends on here. I don't recognize their names, but we're super happy to have you. Well, you just gonna get started. I'm gonna share your screen so you can see your slides, and I'll just let you. Okay, that's online. Say hi. You guys have to say hi. Turn on your cameras and wave or something. Make us feel good.
Hi, Angeline.
You guys are awesome. So I'm gonna share this one with them. And then yours is right there. Here's your clicker.
Yeah.
One.
Ashley showed me, did you see that?
This bigger.
Oh, Cece said it's hard to hear you.
Do you have this mic plugged in? Is the gain up on that, baby?
Yeah, gains all the way up.
Cece, can you hear us any better now? That's weird because I talk loud.
I can hear you better, Jeff, too. I was going to ask you about that.
Perfect.
Yes, that's much better. Thank
Much
you.
better. Okay, good. So you are all set with arrow clicker there.
Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna thank you for inviting me. I actually kind of asked him to invite me. But thank you for inviting me to
Absolutely.
the Marchant Real Estate Group today. So I really appreciate that. And I want to say my intention for today is that I'm going to be able to give you some information, some ideas, maybe some ahas that are going to make your lives happier and more successful. Since this is about success, which brings me to be curious, what does success mean to you? Tracy, I know you like to answer stuff.
Do I?
Maybe it's just questions you like.
I think it means getting to a point where you lead a happy, joyous life, whatever you do.
Lead a happy, joyous life, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. What else? Somebody else, what does success mean to you?
Just being alive and breathing for me.
Being alive and breathing above the grass?
Yep.
Okay,
yeah.
what else?
Freedom!
Freedom. Not surprised that's for you, Leah. Freedom. Yes,
A
absolutely.
feeling of peace and calm and connection.
A feeling of peace and calm and connection. Okay, well, let's combine all of those. We want,
Those all sound good.
those all sound good. I'll take all of it. So I am a relationship coach, and it's my belief that relationships are the foundation of success in all areas. Specifically, we talk about relationships, health, and wealth. So I'm going to explain a little bit about, in real estate, you can see immediately how relationships make a difference for you, right? The more connections that you make with people, the more sales you're going to get. But how about I'm saying it's also important in health? So a study was done at Harvard, starting over 80 years ago. And the purpose of this study was to find out what is it that shortens men's lives? What creates health problems and shortens their lives? And they believed at the time that they started this study that the answer was going to be
Stress.
cigarettes and alcohol.
Back in the
That back in the day,
Yeah,
this study was started when JFK which a lot of you here don't even remember,
Yeah.
when JFK was at Harvard himself. So that study, now they have continued that study, and we're now in the 5th generation, and they spread it to not just men, but to spouses and to children, and then children and their spouses. And what they've discovered, stress is certainly a factor, but what they discovered is that, hi Holly, is that loneliness, lack of quality connections actually has as devastating an effect on your health as smoking a pack of cigarettes every day.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Loneliness, lack of quality connections. So all those connections that you have on your Facebook don't count.
Yeah.
Right,
Quality.
right. So if you're in relationships that are negative relationships, that's not a quality relationship. That's having a negative effect on your health. Now, in addition to this Harvard study, Dr. Dean Ornish, anybody heard of Dr. Dean Ornish? Okay, he's the cardiologist who proved that heart disease could be reversed. So that insurance companies now cover treatment for heart disease to reverse it. Now, my husband has heart disease. My husband has had 4 heart attacks and triple bypass. Was predicted he would not be alive. He's 76 years old. He's thriving. He would tell you, and the reason he's not here today is because we are a team, he and I. The reason he's not here today is like a lot of us these days, he's working 2 jobs. One being a coach with me, and then he has another job too. But he would tell you that he believes the reason that he's still alive today and thriving is because of the relationship he and I have. Now, Dr. Dean Ornish, whom we went to hear speak, the guy who proved that heart disease could be reversed, he says that there are 5 factors that make you able to reverse heart disease. 2 of them, the press reports on: exercise and diet. And they don't report on the other 3. And Dean Ornish, when we went to hear him speak, said that he has in San Francisco, he has a clinic, a retreat kind of place where people can come and go under treatment to start reversing their heart disease and practice all 5 of these things. And he has learned with people who come there and they're getting the good nutrition and they're welcome and they're getting the daily exercise, but they refuse community activities. They refuse opportunities where they have a chance to open up and share what's going on in themselves. And they refuse to participate in activities where you give back. And they die. So according to him, these other 3 things, connection, community, opportunities where you have someone you can open and share, and ways that you give back to the world, are equally as important as diet and exercise. So back to what I said originally, we believe that relationships are the foundation to health and wealth. So I mentioned, as far as realtors, you already realize that relationships are important. But let me tell you a little bit more about how that works with wealth. Who makes more, single men or married men? Married. So we got several people saying married. I would think single men, because they don't have distractions. They don't have a family to take care of. They can focus on their career.
But that's all they focus.
And that's all they focus on. Some of them, some of them.
Oh, yeah. One.
But those of you who said married are correct. Even, even with the distraction of family and home and all those things that it takes to help raise the kids, married men make more. And why would that be? If they've got all these distractions, but
I've heard the concept previously that single people will outproduce, make income for above and beyond any married people,
Okay,
unless the married couple are together. If they're battling each other, they're gonna fall way behind,
yes,
because they've added additional challenges, but if they're together, if they're connecting well, if they're communicating well
team,
together, if they're
yes.
in a team together, they will far outpace.
yes. And it's that, you didn't use this word, but it's kind of tied to team. If you've got backup. Somebody there who supports you, who believes in you, who makes you willing to take a chance to be able to move forward in your career. That's what happens when you've got a team.
You have emotional and physical backup.
Of emotional and physical backup, absolutely. So married men, now they haven't done these studies yet on women, but I'm imagining we're gonna see something similar. So let me ask you. So. Why am I such an expert on this? Why am I someone to teach you about relationships?
Yeah, why are you must have a successful relationship?
Aha, so first thing I would say to you is if you're looking for a relationship coach, look for one who has a successful relationship.
That would help, yeah.
There are a surprising number of business coaches out there who do not have a successful business. And relationship coaches who do not have a successful relationship. I do. I've been divorced, had a 20-year marriage. And it failed for a number of different reasons, which I now understand. And could have done better had I known then what I know now. But now I have an over 30-year marriage that I'm telling you is in the top 1% of marriages out there in the world. It's truly a great marriage. We are a team. We have each other's back. Does that mean we never ever have challenges and problems and disagreements?
No.
Yeah.
We do. We are real people. We do have challenges, but here's the thing. We know how to overcome them. We know how to overcome them in a way that builds our relationship, makes us closer, understand each other better. So, question?
Do you think people that are willing to communicate is part of that factor?
I think communication, good communication skills is definitely part of that factor.
Yeah, that both know how to do it or willing.
You know what? Believe it or not, even if one is good at it, it changes the dynamic and the energy in the relationship. And that other person who maybe doesn't want to go take classes will also change either to fit with and work with the challenges in the relationship, or will choose to leave, which solves the problem. If they're a person if they're unwilling to work at all, then face the facts, it's not a workable relationship. So communication skills is one of the things that we teach. We have a 5-day masterclass, and when I say day, it really means only 60 to 90 minutes a day. It's online so that you can watch it at your convenience. You can also stop and go back and replay a section if you want to hear a little more, because I'm telling you, it is power-packed with ideas to be able to help you build relationships. So I'm going to give you a little taste today of what will be included in that. So, have you heard that 90% or more of your decisions are made from your unconscious mind? Have you heard this? The first time I heard that, I thought, you're crazy. That doesn't make any sense at all. I'm thinking about what I want to do and I'm making decisions. But I'll give you an example. As a realtor, have you sometimes said to yourself, today I'm going to call 10, the term is FSBOs, right? For sale by owner. I'm going to call 10. And when you get ready to go to bed at night, did you make one? Maybe two? Or maybe other things got in the way and you just didn't get any of them done. Your conscious mind had made a decision. I'm going to make 10 calls. I really need that. I need to move forward. And this is going to make a difference for me. But your unconscious mind disagreed. Your unconscious mind's number one directive is to protect you from emotional and physical pain. So it's possible that the last time you tried to call FSBOs, you got hold of one of those people who said, get the hell off my phone. Who do you think you are? And you had this emotionally really uncomfortable experience. And now when you say to yourself, I'm going to call those 10 people, your unconscious mind says, oh, I don't think so. That's not a good idea. No, let's find some other things to do instead. We definitely do not want to get into that again. Here's the thing. When your conscious mind and your unconscious mind are not aligned, your unconscious mind wins every single time. So here's the conscious choice, what you want to do. And the unconscious saying, no, don't think so. That does not match my unconscious preference. Thank you, Jeff.
Mhm.
So then the challenge becomes this. How do you know what's in your unconscious mind that's in there pushing you around and sabotaging your conscious efforts?
How do we?
You come to my 5-day masterclass. Because we're going to talk about some ways to get in touch with what the heck is sitting in there in my unconscious mind. I'll give you a clue. Anytime there's something that you've been struggling to try to get yourself to do. Now, it could be stop eating ice cream every night. It could be making physical calls. It could be getting yourself to the gym. Anything that you're struggling, that you're consciously saying to yourself, maybe it's a relationship thing. Maybe it's, I'm not going to cuss the next time my son does such and such. Maybe.
Tracy, like, that's ridiculous.
Whatever it is that you've been consciously saying to yourself, I'm going to do differently, and you keep struggling and it's not happening, is your clue there is something in your unconscious mind stopping you. Absolutely.
Say that again?
So anytime that you have something that you're struggling to achieve, that you keep consciously saying to yourself, I'm going to stop eating ice cream every night. I'm going to call those FSBOs today. I'm going to apologize to my partner for being rude. Whatever it is that you're saying to yourself that you're going to do and you don't do, there is something unconscious that is sabotaging you. So that's your clue. So then, how do we find out what it is? How can we release that thing that's blocking you? Well, I didn't mention that in the reason why I'm a good person to give you some relationship advice is that my husband and I are both master level trained in releasing unconscious blocks. We are second level trained in Reiki energy. We are master level trained in NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and master level trained in timeline therapy. So we know how to, and have many times with clients, helped release those hidden blocks that were getting in the way. And some of those hidden blocks are negative beliefs that you have about yourself that don't even make sense. And yet you believe them. I'll give you a quick example. A real simple example. Now, sometimes, actually, I'm going to back up just a paragraph. Sometimes those beliefs are things like what we're familiar with, like PTSD. Second, I drink my water. So a soldier who's had negative experiences out there in Iraq or wherever, and believes that when you hear a loud noise, danger is present, may hear fireworks and dive to hide for cover, because his unconscious mind says that sound means danger. So he has a limiting belief. It's limiting him. It's affecting the way he's operating because he has this belief. But the same thing happens in smaller, less dramatic ways. So that's the example I'm going to give you. When I was in 4th grade, way back when I was in 4th grade, one of the popular girls at school pushed me off the sidewalk. And yes, it was very rude.
Mhm.
And
Let's go get her.
so unconsciously, which means I was not aware of it happening, I made a decision about myself. And that decision was, I don't fit in. The popular girls aren't gonna like me. I should not involve myself because women aren't gonna like me. So that was fourth grade. As an adult, I was still operating from that unconscious belief. And when I would get in with a group of women, I'd move to the back. I didn't want to really, speak up and participate because they probably wouldn't want to hear what I had to say. And besides that, maybe I don't really fit in. Maybe they've got different rules about, how their clique works and I should be this and that. And so I said things to myself like, I should not try out to speak on a TED stage. I probably don't fit in. So I was blocking myself unconsciously. Now, my mentors have the training that I have helped me release that block. Damn, I'm telling you, women like me just fine. I get along with groups. I fit in. Actually, maybe my kind of quirky different ways are kind of fun and kind of nice, and it's all okay. I don't have that block that was unconscious anymore. So the trick is to become aware of, number one, that you have some blocks, and you can see that by your results. And number two, then be able to find out what they are. And number three, release them. So that's one little taste of what we have in our 5-day masterclass. I'm going to give you a different taste. How many of you have heard the phrase perception is projection? Okay, so some of you have heard that. So this is kind of a tricky, hard to understand idea. And what it says is that everything I see out there, everything that I perceive is totally my projection. I created it. So for instance, some people say that when you go to get your morning drink at the barista, how does the girl who's serving you seem to be? Is she cranky today? Look inside yourself. Are you feeling cranky today?
Yeah, it's true.
Check yourself by how you're seeing other people. Do you sometimes see people as, oh, he's so judgmental? Check inside yourself. In what ways are you judgmental? I had a client who called me and my usual first question is, what would be important for us to talk about today? And she said, my husband just doesn't listen to me. I mean, I tell him the stuff that matters to me and he just doesn't listen to me. And I said to her, in what ways are you not listening to yourself? Whoa. She said, well, let's see now. Sometimes I tell myself I'm going to get to bed by 8 o'clock because I need the rest, and then I don't do it. Sometimes I tell myself I'm going to get the kitchen clean before I go to visit the grandkids, and I don't do it. And she started looking at the ways that she wasn't taking care of herself and listening to herself. And here's what's really interesting that happens with perception is projection, which by the way, I'm going to show you another really cool slide about this. We all have our own set of glasses. We all see the world differently. That barista that you might think is cranky, somebody else might think is just tired. Somebody else might think she looks great and she's acting great, whatever. We all have our own unique view. But the point is, and I lost it. I'm sorry.
You need hydration, you got this.
I need hydration. Yes, I do. So she needed to learn to listen to herself. And here's the thing that happens that's really interesting about that. And I'm going to give you an example that kind of show it up. Here's what happens when I change my filters, my glasses, the other person changes. So my mother was a psychotherapist and she taught her dad when he was in his late 70s, maybe early 80s. And he had rather consistent conflict with his wife, my grandmother. And my mother talked him into going to see a psychiatrist. This is down in Phoenix. After he'd been going for a few weeks, he called up my mom and he said, I don't get how this works. I go in and I talk to Dr. May about the things that I don't like about Effie, and she changes. What changed was his perception of her. She didn't actually change, but his perception of her changed. You have any questions for me yet, Tracy?
I'm building on it.
You're building on, okay, good. I heard that Tracy's good at this. So the thing to know is that everyone around you is a mirror. What you see is coming from you. So everyone is not only a mirror, but a teacher, an opportunity for you to see inside yourself. To see what maybe you want to change.
Does it happen simultaneously with two different people?
Sometimes there's just magic when this happens. It's you shift something inside yourself and how you see things. And Tony Child, who spoke here a few weeks ago, Tony Child says, how does it go? When you see things differently, the world sees you differently. Or when, anyway, it's amazing how much changes around you when your perception changes. Now, I have a free quiz, actually I have 4 of them on my website about men, my favorite subject. Truly. And you can take a quiz about any man in your life and determine which manimal type he is. There's 12 different manimals. Each has an animal name just for fun, not to make fun of them. And
Let's
you-
give Jeff a guinea pig. Let's figure out what he is.
I can tell you that Jeff has at least some gorilla, my favorite. He also has some shark in him. He also has a little bit of rhino in him. And when you take the quiz, when a woman takes the quiz about a man, she's going to find out according to her perception,
Oh,
because that's how you're going to relate to him, is based on your perception.
how do you figure how far off you are?
So she's going to find out, according to her perception, how much of each of the 12 types, because you get a full profile, not just one, about this man. Now, here's what's fun. So you go take the quiz about who's the man in your life.
I don't have any.
Oh, even better, I've got another quiz for you. I'll tell you about that one. Okay, so Kitty, when you take the quiz about Mark, you're going to see him in a certain way. And sometimes women say to me, well, how do I know the right answer to the questions?
Oh,
Whatever you perceive is the right answer, because you're going to relate to him based on your perception. So she takes the quiz and she finds out that Mark he's got some gorilla in him. He's definitely got some shark in him, but he's mostly a panda.
lots of panda.
Pandas are into fun and friends, by the way. And Mark is a very playful guy. So she says to Mark, I took this quiz about you, and it said da 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 da. And he goes, what? So he wants to go take this quiz, but the questions in here are from a woman's point of view. So we create a second quiz, the guy's gorilla quiz. So now he takes a quiz about himself and they compare. Doesn't exactly match. And she says, I see you as having a lot of panda because of da da da. And he says, well, I think I'm more sharp, which by the way is into financial success. And so I'll give you an example. It's up to him if he wants to adjust himself. My husband is primarily Panther. Panthers are the artists of the world. And he is seriously an artist in a lot of ways. And when we took the quiz and compared, he said, but you like gorillas. And by the way, our best-selling book, the title is Gorillas Make Great Lovers. I do like gorillas. And my husband said, well, what are the qualities of a gorilla? And I started describing to him. They're very people-oriented. They are family oriented. They tend to be easygoing, bare feet. They they tend to be more relaxed. They just want to have a good life. They don't, so you have a combination of gorilla and shark, because the sharks want to push for better and better. The gorillas want to enjoy it how it is now. It's so an interesting combination in you. So my husband said to me, how can I be more gorilla? And we talked about that. And he worked on it. And now we call him a hybrid. He's a pantherilla. So how am I doing time wise?
Oh, you're great. You're
Yeah,
fine.
you guys 11:30.
Oh, okay. All right. So we've talked about your conscious and unconscious mind. We've talked about perception and projection. I want to share another concept that we talk about and we talked about the gorilla quizzes, and we bless you, and we mentioned my best-selling book. So another one I want to talk to you about. Now, you mentioned energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
How-
she needs to know about the other girl.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Yes.
Sing
So
me out, okay?
thank you. So there's 4 quizzes.
Okay.
There's the gorilla quiz that women take about any man they know. Then there's the guy's gorilla quiz that he takes about himself. Then there's the quiz that women can take, and it's called the ideal manimal quiz. So what would you actually like to find according to your unconscious perception? You take the quiz and it'll give you a profile.
It tells me what I unconsciously remember.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes, it'll tell you. And then the 4th one is, I had a client who'd been married twice, and she wanted to get married again, and she said, I'm really nervous, I'm really worried about this, I'm afraid I'll make a mistake again. And I said, well, and some guy was pushing on her to get married. And I said, well, take the gorilla quiz, so she did. And she took the ideal quiz and compared, and hey, he was a great match with her ideal,
That
her
convinced her.
fantasy, yeah. And with what she wanted, that she got, he was a match. About 3 months into the marriage, she called me. Things are not working. She started describing to me the problems that she was having with him. Oh, my goodness, emotional immaturity, which is sometimes called narcissism. So she has challenges with him. And I thought, I need another quiz. I need a quiz so that a woman can tell not only does he match what I want, where is he on emotional maturity? How difficult is he going to be to work with? And again, this is going to be your perception of him. And I'm telling you, you can do this by someone you have just started a chat with on one of those dating apps. Because you can read his energy. You really can, and you'll be able to see how challenging, how difficult is he. And by the way, when you take the gorilla quiz, if the guy that you're taking it about, or the ideal manimal quiz, actually don't include these on ideal manimal because nobody would want this part. There's 2 types you want to avoid. Rat and crab. So you want to avoid those. So when you take the quiz about the man that you're already with, and he comes up high in rat and crab, well, I would suggest you give me a call.
Yes.
And we can talk about how to deal with it. May I use an example? Okay, so I'm gonna give you an example. Now, I'm being transparent here. I'm being transparent. Do I have permission?
Yeah, go ahead.
You sure?
I'm okay with it.
Okay. So in my book, I wrote about Kitty and Mark getting together. With their permission. I use different names, by the way.
It did protect the innocent.
When Kitty was 19, she came to me and she said, I want to marry Mark. And I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. You want feedback. Now, in my family, when you're out of high school and you now own your own life, I'm still your mother, but you own your own life. And I ask permission before I give feedback. And when I said to Kitty, do you want feedback? She said, no. I didn't say anything else. About 3 days later, she came back and she said, okay, I'm ready. And
I do that to people.
And I said, my observation of Mark is that he's judgmental, he's critical, he's gonna roll over the top of you, because at that time, the woman that you now know as Kitty was very compliant and very people pleaser and very not speak up for himself and very shy and very quiet and all this stuff. And Mark, if any of you know him, Mark is strong. He has a strong personality. And I said, this is not gonna be a good match. She's gonna run right over the top of you. She came back 2 days later and she said, I prayed about it. I want to marry Mark. I said, okay, then we will do everything we can to support you. No backstabbing, no under the table stuff, any of that kind of stuff. We'll do everything we can to support you. Mark came to us, me and Dixon, a couple of days later. He said, I want to marry Kitty. And we said, you're aware that we have reservations? And he said, yes. I said, you want to talk about it? And he said, yes. And we talked about it. And he said, I love her. I'm going to change. And I thought to myself, yeah, the statistics on that are not good. But he said, I love her and I want to marry her. And I said, Kitty's made her decision. We will do whatever it takes to help make this marriage work. About 2 years later, Dixon and I were over at their little apartment. They'd invited us over for the evening. And my husband and Mark got into an argument, such that Mark said, get out of my house. Get out of my house now and don't come back.
I could use a few more words than that.
Edited for the book.
That's the G rated. Yeah.
Dixon was pissed. He out the door. Mark turned around to me. I'm still standing there and he said, I said, get out of my house. Oh, and I said to him, and I told you, I will do everything I can to make this marriage work. If I leave now, there's a big rift. I'm not leaving till this gets settled. And Mark and I sat down and talked.
I never had anyone stand up to me like that.
It's not just, I want you to know, it's not just standing up to him, it's standing up for him.
Yeah. Because you weren't against me, you were on my side.
That's right. Absolutely on his side. And they have now been married 30 years,
29 this July.
29. During that 29 years, here's what I've seen. It used to be we didn't live in the same state. And so when I'd come to visit, I would observe how they were getting along. And when Mark would be driving me to the airport, I would say, do you want feedback? And he would say, okay. And then we would,
Captive audience, you know?
and then we would talk. And what I've observed is that contrary to statistics, Mark has consistently worked to improve, to change. Because initially what was showing in him, primarily crab, critical, cranky, negative. That's what was showing. Well, crab is a defense mechanism for the real man that's inside. So somewhere along the way, if you got a lot of crab, it's because you got hurt. You got damaged, you got attacked, and you built a crusty exterior to keep people at a distance to protect your vulnerable insides, just like a little crab. And Mark had done that. And over time, Mark has worked, and right now he's in BU with me and Lynn and Braden, and consistently, continually looking for ways to grow and change. So the reason I bring this up is when I say, if you take the quiz and your man is high in crab or rat, Kitty asked me to write about her and Mark in my book because she said, Mom, I want to give other women hope.
Yes.
It depends on how willing is he to do the work. She can make changes that will affect him, like we were talking about earlier, but it's going to depend on his willingness to do the work. Mark is very willing. They have a great marriage. Close to ours, not quite to ours.
I think it's very private. She doesn't know.
Can I say something?
Please do, Brandon.
On Mark is that he does go all in.
He does go all in, absolutely. And part of that all in is what was underneath that cranky exterior, which is his playful panda. And from seeing him up on stage, you guys who were in the program, you know he's playful. That's who he really is, and it shows up in their family. When my husband jokes that when they opened Christmas presents, when the kids were little, Mark played with all the toys first. Very, very much that way. So questions about that so far? Okay,
Not a question since it's my
Comment.
story, but I need to point out something.
please.
He's not the only one who did work.
Yes, that's absolutely true. Kitty's been working, so instead of the,
Yeah,
Compliant.
Both of us doing work.
yes, instead of the compliant, passive kind of person, Kitty is now also very strong.
Yeah.
She's a great realtor because of her strength and her ability to negotiate for clients and all of that. So yes, the two of them have been committed and have been a team
Yeah.
all the way along.
The one thing that we
So-
did fall into the trap of was trying to get the other one to change.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
It was, I worked on me and.
I worked on me.
And you worked on you, and through that, we were able to come together.
Yes,
So it wasn't competition, there wasn't comparison, there wasn't, well, you should do this type thing. It was trying to come to an understanding. You made the statement, this is how I felt when you said that.
Mhm.
What were you actually thinking? What were you trying to convey to me when you said that? Because I'm actually genuinely curious to understand what it is she's saying. A lot of guys don't do that. They don't ask the questions. They've lost that curiosity.
yeah, they're defensive instead of open and curious, yeah. And that's true for women too. Women can be more defensive than curious and open. So, yes, Leah,
I have a question.
okay.
We're talking about these quizzes and they're all about men. Are there quizzes for women too?
I get asked that all the time. I get asked that all the time. There's two reasons that it's not.
Okay.
First reason is I know men way better than I know women.
Okay.
Because all those years I didn't think I fit in with women.
Yeah.
But I really liked men. So I learned a lot about men. I lucked out with. I have a really great dad. I had a really great example of a good man. And in my book, you'll see a fun picture of him because we dedicated the book to him on a motorcycle, a big old Harley. But anyway, and the second reason is between men and women, which one do you think is more likely to start digging in and try to improve relationships? Women. So the book and the quizzes are made for them. The men can learn about themselves. When Mark takes a quiz about himself, he can see himself by his perception, and he can then compare with Kitty and her perception and look for, okay, well, neither one is right or wrong because it's all perception. Okay, other comments, questions? Okay, so another thing that we covered in the 5 days is energy work. I think you mentioned energy earlier. How many of you are familiar with an energy chart like this or something similar? Okay, Braden and Holly, Kitty, Mark. Okay, so on this chart, at the bottom of the chart are things like shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear. And at the top are things like enlightenment, peace, joy, love. So what this literally is a measurement of energy inside you and how it is actually spread out to the world. And so our goal is to move up on the energy chart, closer to joy and happiness and those things, and away from fear and grief. By doing that, as realtors, when you are more to the upper part, you attract more people to you. People who want to talk with you, people who are interested in doing business with you. There's a phrase, know, like, and trust. You want to get people to know, like, and trust you. Well, one way is to move up on the energy chart so that you can have higher, more attractive energy. Also very true for dating. And that energy shows up in your online posts. Your energy, positive or negative, literally shows up there. So you want to improve your energy. Well, what if you have low energy? What do you do about that? How do you change that? When you have low energy, your energy flow decreases, your resistance increases, you are disconnected from your intuition, yuck. You stay in effect, and by effect means a victim mode. So you stay in victim mode, and you have no clear inspired actions of what to do next. You're just kind of stuck. So you want to get out of that.
I feel like someone can go from one to the end, like on a daily basis.
Yes. Yes, and that doesn't mean they're bipolar,
Yeah. I know. Okay.
but yes, yeah, we can. We can, I'm gonna use my husband for an example. I have whatever it's called, so I have blanket permission to use him as
Okay.
an example. My husband has a tendency to wake up thinking negatively. He thinks worst case scenario. I wake up thinking best case scenario. He's working on changing this. He wants to be different. So he does what I'm going to tell you to do, because he's a good husband. So high vibration, if you're in high vibration, your energy flow increases, you have more energy. Your resistance decreases, you're more open to the world. You are connected to your intuition. You are receiving learnings from things around you. You have clear, inspired actions, and you easily and effortlessly manifest what you want to have. So there's a keyword, starts with G, that is the main thing that you can do to shift from low to high. Gratitude. Man, I just hear that everywhere. It just sounds like, such a snap. Oh, that's the answer, is gratitude, is gratitude. Yeah. Write a gratitude journal, all this stuff. But here's the thing. It works. It actually works. It will shift your energy. So my husband, literally in the morning, when he wakes up, he reads a gratitude statement. He answers some questions about this. He watches a video about it to shift his energy from that negative victim kind of position into a positive, believing he's going to have a good day, being able to see people in a positive view, being open to what's happening around him and looking for options and solutions to challenges that come up. You want to be able to do this. You want to be able to make this shift. In our 5-day thing, we will cover some ideas to help you be able to make that shift from negative victim mode to a positive victor mode.
Angeline, I have just one idea for everybody in here.
Please.
Ashley and I recently have gone to some classes, and one thing they said to start with your morning is to smile. So the first thing, and right as you wake up, it's really hard, because you do wake up and a lot of times you're in your mind, or all the things you have to do, but you just put a big smile on your face. First thing, it changes everything, and it's not easy. But I dare everyone to do it and try it and see what it's like. It's really cool.
That's a great idea. And when I'm teaching single women how to attract men, number one, smile. Number one. And you'd be surprised how many women want to do that. But smiling makes a huge difference. My husband and I have a pattern. We get up in the morning, the first thing we do is we make the bed. And then we kneel down and have prayers together to start our day with our positive intention of how do we want to make this day go, and to show that we are a team. We work together. And you looked like you had a comment you were going to. This one right in front of me. No? Just thinking hard. Okay. So any other, another thing that you can do that works for a lot of people to start out your day and improve it is play music. I have on my Alexa, I play what's called Angeline's favorites, and I've got 25, 30 songs to get me going, get me moving, get me into my body, get me connected with myself. And that's my favorite way to get myself going. But there are a number of different ways to be able to shift from low energy to high energy to positive. Yes, please.
On the smiling, I remember reading an article somewhere that there was a study done. All you've got to do is you don't even feel like smiling, just stick a pencil in your teeth. And and you get some of the same benefits. There's literally a chemical difference that happens when you smile. And just even sticking a pencil in your teeth, forcing your mouth to do it.
It's a real thing. It seems so simple and silly, but it'll change your brain, it really will.
And so does music and dancing and getting any of that positive physical stuff going.
So we are truly holistic beings. Our body moving in some particular way, or me dancing or whatever, connects with our emotions, connects with our thoughts, shifts our perception of things. That's absolutely true. So,
Actually,
yes.
I'm sorry, okay.
Don't apologize, I like participation.
Perception, here's a good perception, now, who are the happiest people to wake up in the morning?
Babies.
There you go, children, so something to kind of consider as well too, is like we as adults, when we wake up, we're like, oh crap, we have to take on another day. Whereas children, when they wake up, they're like, dude, let's get going, let's get out of this screen, let's get out there, so. Maybe a perception to kind of keep in mind is like, hey, what would my child self be acting like right now?
The child in you.
Understand this, but like, what is the child self when you see that?
The child inside yourself, yeah.
At least that's how I have to perceive it sometimes, because I wake up like, okay, that's. I'm gonna be conquer, so let's do this.
Okay, so do you all wish you could get more of this kind of stuff that I'm sharing with you?
Yes, please, yes.
Thank you. Lynn. Okay, so the relationship masterclass, I told you is $397. For you all, $37.
She's like,
So it's a no-brainer. You can take it and play it anytime you want. It actually is going to be available because we're just updating we're redoing our whole masterclass. Going to be available starting July 15th. But you can then watch it anytime you want. You can replay it as often as you want to. You can watch half of one day in the morning, the other half at night, or the next day, or whatever is convenient to you. So for $37, you get to have it in your pocket.
All right,
Ready for, yes.
let's be honest.
Okay, be honest. I'm sorry?
You need it.
Single men. What is your question about single men, Braden?
It is so beneficial. I can see how this is beneficial for relationships, but I'm also like. No, it's not. Thankfully, it's nothing like, something I can do, but I'm like, is it beneficial though?
Who do you have relationships with now?
Friends, family, people all around,
Are they great, the relationships?
they're great. I work on them. I definitely take some extra effort to work on them.
Would you like to up-level them?
Yeah, I would actually.
Okay. Would you like to make more money?
Yes.
Okay, you can up-level that through improving your relationships. You look like you've got definitely some rhino in you, which by the way is the bodybuilders, the fitness guys. Looks like you're working out. Would you like your health and all of that to get even better?
Absolutely.
Well, it starts with relationships. They're the foundation. Then would you like to find that intimate partner, that jewel of a woman that you could have the bliss that might, and I'm gonna embarrass myself. No, I won't embarrass myself, but I'm gonna say 76 years old and my husband's 76. And I'm telling you, our relationship is juicy. So,
Check out a lot.
Braden, would you like a juicy relationship? Sign up. Any other questions?
This translates to like real estate, though, like I get and, you know, your, maybe, how does this really translate? Like, can you take these quizzes to help you with your clients? That's the connection that I had.
Would you like to understand the men that you do business with better?
Sure.
Get a clearer picture of what they're like and what matters to them and what their strengths and weaknesses are?
Yes,
Take the quiz.
okay.
Not to mention, if you guys are part of EXP, you guys know Ricky Caruth. The guys have phenomenal relationships. That's why you're so successful.
Oh, you got training from Angeline, huh? Got it.
Probably not.
Wrong.
I don't know who that person is. So you've all got this. You've got the link, you've got the QR code, all of that. And the next slide is actually one I deleted, but it looks like I didn't delete, so I'm just gonna move it. So I'm gonna come back to my company is Mastering the Art of Relationships, and I do believe it is an art, and it is something you can master. You can go to our website, relationshipmaster.com, and see lots of other fun things, including a little video clip about me and my husband, because people sometimes say to us, they see how well aligned we are, and they say, you guys are probably soulmates, you probably knew it right when you met each other. No, not the case. I did definitely think he was not my type, and he said I'm not his type. So we have a fun little video about how our two differences came together. So that's about 4 minutes long. That'll be fun for you. But there's a lot of other information on there for you too. So what questions do you have now?
I thought it was gonna be a 5-day retreat. Awesome.
So my vision is within 5 years from now, we will buy a property in France,
Nice.
and that France property will be specifically to be able to hold retreats there. So,
Let's go.
I'm sorry?
Very beautiful. If you there, I'm there. I'm all the way there.
When we pick a place, it's gonna be so good, you'll all wanna be there. So our mission, and my husband and I do feel like we've been called to a mission. Our mission is to help heal the world. The world is sick in a lot of ways. The world is full of pain in a lot of ways that we believe can be healed one relationship at a time.
Nice.
All right. And there's,
We've got to slide the QR code for the search website. Comments on Zoom, Sylvia says, count me in, and Cece says, great class, and that you're a very effective coach and officer.
Awesome, thanks, Angeline.
I think one last slide here that you have too.
Yeah, we're gonna move on to that. So,
Thank you.
thank you, Angeline. That was awesome. So to your comment or question about in business and stuff like that, my personal belief is when we're all the things that she was talking about, when we're in the right energy, when we're expressing and feeling gratitude, when our relationships are healthy, and we're happier, it's not just about the relationships. That energy flows into all aspects of our life. We will create more business. We will attract people into our world and into our life when we have this part fixed. Because if it's not, you'll miss opportunities. You won't see relationships. You'll have something right in front of you. You won't even recognize it as an opportunity for business because of where your headspace is. And one thing that helped Lynn and I along these lines years ago, and I may have mentioned this before, but a lot of people say, oh, relationships 50-50, you both got to work on it, right? What we learned is it's 100% and 100%. Because think about that. If it's 50-50 and you're tipping the scale and you're saying, well, I'm doing my part, or I'm doing more than you're doing, then you're always criticizing and you're comparing instead of just taking responsibility, taking ownership for the happiness of your relationship. So great class. I think we're all gonna probably be spending $37.
It's ordering right now.
You know what the thing I thought of, like, you know how when you're kind of haggling in Mexico and stuff, that hey, cheapy, practically free. That's what this is. Practically free, cheapy. All right, so yeah, I mean, it's a cost of lunch, really, right? So the slide's already up. You guys in Zoom can see the slide because we have a sponsor in here. So we're gonna shift gears just a little bit. Josh is my go-to guy with home warranties, and my opinion. Yeah, yes, he wore the uniform. In home warranties, I mean, there's slight differences, really, in home warranties. I don't think there's vast differences on the scale of what services they provide. My opinion, my differentiator is who your rep is. And who do you call when there's a problem? Who helps you initiate your orders? who's gonna help you stand up for your client and get service calls done or whatever. And that's why I love Josh. So he's gonna introduce himself for those that don't know him. And that's his contact information we put on there, QR code, that's who you can connect with him.
Awesome, thanks. Happy to be here with you guys, some new faces. Your vibe is great, by the way. I'm kind of sad that I didn't catch the whole class because I really connect with this topic. I teach a mindset and habits CE class and a lot about relationship building. So I wanted to just share a couple of things. I've been here multiple times. We can chat afterwards about details about home warranty. I won't bore you with all that. Our brochures are over there. We've got 3 buyer plans. We do new construction policies. We do listing coverage. So we cover your clients no matter what phase of life and home ownership they're in. We also do consumers. So if they've been in their home for 20 years and want to do a home warranty, they don't have to be going through a real estate transaction to get that. One thing that we have coming up in the month of July that'll be a new add-on and a la carte option is our brand for brand coverage on refrigerators. So what clients will run into sometimes is if they're buying up in Park City specifically, where there's a bit higher end appliances, specifically on the refrigerator, sometimes obviously down here in the valley as well, or they want a $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 refrigerator. The coverage doesn't quite meet up to their expectations with that. So we'll have an a la carte option. I want to say it's gonna be about $200, but it gives them $5,000 of brand for brand coverage. So if their refrigerator goes out, like make and models, what it'll be replaced with, that'll start in July. And again, that'll be an add-on to any policy that they want to get. So it's a great option for homes that have Wolf appliances, some higher end properties that we can cover. I'll finish with this. Has anybody read Think and Grow Rich? Yeah. The books changed my life, like big time. And I always like coming, I love coming here. If you guys aren't part of the group, join the group. These guys are awesome. But one thing that I've loved reading about is riches don't respond to wishes. They respond to definite plans backed by desire. So if you want your relationships to translate to real estate deals, if you want to increase your wealth, no matter what is, riches can be defined as a lot of things, right? Financially is what we usually think of, but it could be our relationships. It can be just our self-worth and defining who we are. If you have a definite plan and a desire to become whatever you want, you will become that. I'm a firm believer of that. So I love to be part of that process, be a portion of whatever that looks like, whether it's in the home warranty world or being a friend. Whatever it needs to be, I'm happy to be that for you. And I'd love to connect after this. So
Thanks, God. I mean, come on, how many of you have home warranty guys that talk like that, right? You can see why I love Josh. Yeah, he's awesome. So thanks for being here, Josh. And Angeline, thank you so much. That was an awesome class. So that's a wrap, guys. Stick around. Josh has brought some lunch. We'll have some lunch and chat and network. You guys on Zoom, thanks for staying to the end. Love you guys. Reach out if I can do anything for you. I'm gonna Yep, I'm gonna record this. I'll post this in our Team Limitless Facebook group. Those of you that aren't, reach out through Angeline or myself, and we'll get you a link to the recording and your slides as well. Yeah, and your slides. So we'll have all of that and get it to you if you want. Thanks, guys.